Hello, welcome. This is Hardware Talk NZ Live, with the Hardware Diversity Discussion podcast. This is episode 24 and episode number 5 for 2021. It is the last formalised podcast for this year, which is pretty crazy, actually. I've been very, very lucky to have the people on this year that I have been able to have, and taking time out of their schedules, their days, and whatever plans they may have, that they would normally have, to say, yep, I'll come on and have a chat to you for a couple of hours, has been absolutely amazing, quite honestly. And I really, really could not have done this without them. And really thankful for the community that I've sort of been able to form this year to be able to do that. Not to say it's the last podcast for this year. I do have one more on the weekend with the moderators. It's going to be a bit more wild, a bit more hectic, possibly a little bit less about tech. And, come along for the ride if you are happy. These do get uploaded to YouTube, so if you are wanting to look at previous episodes, please come and check out the YouTube channel. And that's where they'll be uploaded to. I've got the last four of them up there, so if you want to check them out over the break, then please feel free to. Speaking of the break, before I go and introduce the guests and all that sort of good things, I'll be taking 2 weeks off streaming in approximately 8 days' time, which is Christmas Eve. I will not be doing anything for about just over 2 weeks. At that point, I will have one stream next week, which is more of a community games night, and that is where I'll be talking about doing, Among Us and, Jackbox and all that sort of thing. So if you're keen to come in for that, please join the Discord. I'll do all the shout-outs and stuff off the bat. Please come and join the Discord, and we'll be sort of organising when that will be happening and how that's all going to play down. But you won't be able to join unless you're in the Discord, so that would be awesome to sort of see you there and have you in. And then, and then I've got 5 other streams on that. So I've got the Friday Let's Play, Saturday with Forza, and then Sunday with Wreckfest, and then obviously got the podcast this weekend, and then the one day next week for the community day, and so that's it. So you won't see me again until 2022, and who knows what will happen. Might be some changes around here, and that's what it's all about in reality. So yeah, without further ado, we have an amazing guest on today. Here's the man who made my emotes. He's an awesome guy, and I've been following him for probably about 4 months now. I'll unmute Discord and go, welcome to KinTheKnow. Welcome. Are you here? You're muted. Hello? Oh, hello. I don't know. Oh, you can't hear me. Oh, there we go. Alright. Whoa. Oh. Whoa, you're off the screen. You're that big. Whoa. Alright, I'll pick. Whoa. Alright, there we go. Alright. Oh. Alright. That's about right. Alright. But you are. Oh. What did that? Software. Oh no. Hello. Oh, he's off the screen slightly. There we go. Hello. Hello, what's up? He is. What's up? It is. So maybe. Yeah, that might be Discord. Yeah, it's not. It's yeah, it is what it is. What's up, a pogo? Yes. I can't hear you, Kin. What? No, you're unmuted, ma'am. He is unmuted. Oh, desktop audio is muted. Oh, wow. What? Say something now? What?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
you can hear me?
Oh my god, I had desktop audio muted.
Oh, hardware. Come on, dude. See, this is what happens. This is what happens when you're hardware and not software. This is what happens, dude.
Yep.
When you're hardware and not software, dude.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Oh dear. So no one can hear the music at the start either. Oh dear. Oh well. Hopefully the rest of the ship will be sailing smoothly because that obviously wasn't a great start.
No worries, man.
I'll say this off the bat. Yes, we'll be sort of paying attention to chat. The alert box is off. The sound alerts are off. So we'll have that all on.
I'm watching chat.
So you're watching chat.
I'm watching chat, bro.
All right.
Watching it.
All right. If there's any,
be careful, chat.
If there's any shenanigans, you let me know. But I won't have it up. So it's sort of, I don't want to interrupt the conversation too much. But we're all good. All right. So, I guess we want to know who this man is. What do you do? How did I meet you?
What do you mean, what do I do, bro? You're in my stream every day. I'm just joking.
Nobody else knows who you are. Well,
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Other than a pogo, nobody else knows. Yeah. I'm actually a video editor. So I do a lot of medical, health, wellness, even lawyers, doctors, dentists, that kind of thing. So I do a lot of medical animations and videos and business spotlights. So that's my main thing. And then the streaming with J-Dog, with who you just saw, J-Dog, is like the release. It's like, I don't have to be so specific, bro. The patella doesn't have to be like right where the patella is, dude. Yeah. I can actually like a little bit like be funny with cartoons and stuff. So that's why I like the streaming, dude. Because I can just be crazy with it. I don't have to be so anatomically correct, because that's what I do in my job. Anatomically correct with the video editing stuff, with the medical animations.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I didn't realize it's sort of like what sort of area you sort of did, but now I know. That's really interesting, actually. Yeah.
You can't hear me? A pogo can't hear me, dude. A pogo, are you serious or are you just joking, bro?
I think that
are you serious or are you just joking?
Comment. I had the desktop audio music.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it. Fair enough.
Documentary.
The streaming documentary. This is supposed to be about hardware, not about KinTheKnow, bro.
Oh, it's a bit about you. You know, it's sort of like giving thanks and making sure that you're here and what you're about. And
I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah,
love your content, hardware. Love Hardware's content. Check out Hardware. Check out the Discord on Hardware. Check out Hardware's YouTube. Check out Hardware's everything, bro.
Oh, check out your stuff too. You share your links, man. Share your links too, man. People want to know.
Family friendly. Family friendly, though. Family friendly.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Exactly. You've got to sort of have that sort of disparity, I suppose you want to call it, with content.
That's right. Yeah, That's true.
Takes all types.
That's right.
Yeah. So, anything interesting tech-wise you want to sort of discuss before we get going? Sort of like about you?
Oh man, I told you before. I'm interested in the overclocking, especially of the RAM, because I'm getting into the RAM overclocking. I'm getting into the timings. I just got, like you saw in my Discord, 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Cool.
So hold on. RAM size, like as in gigabytes, or RAM speed, what matters? So I'm really curious here, because I've heard different things. I've watched too many YouTube videos and I don't know if they're honest or not, because they're always sponsored by somebody, man. It bothers me a little bit. So I'm not sure what matters.
Okay.
So that's something interesting to me. I don't know if that's what you wanted to talk about, but that's something interesting to me, dude.
We can certainly absolutely open up the floor at the end. It's sort of when we're sort of a general sort of topic space. If we've got time with both of us, then absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Nothing wrong with doing that at all. And actually, speaking of that, we can open up the floor to chat who are going to come in, and maybe they can sort of ask us some things as well. So, but otherwise, if no one is, then absolutely we'll talk about RAM overclocking. There is no questions asked. Awesome.
I'm interested, dude. I'm interested. Not just RAM, but GPU and CPU.
Okay.
Because hold on, if you're swaying towards one or the other, you're bottlenecking something, right?
Well.
Like something's getting bottleneck. Hold on, hear me out on this one.
All right.
So for example, 1080p. If you, hardware's laughing at me. So you think I don't know? Hardware's laughing at me already. Hold on a second. If XMP is enabled, right? 1080p, RAM is usually your bottleneck. But if you're going 1440 or 4K, your GPU's your bottleneck. So you're just shifting your bottleneck. You're just shifting what's stopping you. Human eye in a non-pilot or non-military, non-explosive movement individual can only detect 60 to 75 frames per second. Why do you have a 240 frames per second monitor if you're not like a military vet that's used to fast animation and fast movement? The human eye can't even detect that.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
We're going way off topic initially, but that's all good.
Sorry.
All right.
This is what I'm interested in because this is bothering me on my CPU and my GPU and my RAM.
It's something called the frame times, the consistency of frame times. Because do you know why video is smooth? Like movie video, like 24 FPS video, it's because it's got the same low frame times. Because it's instant rendering, right? Because it's lights directly coming to the camera, very small processing delay, and then you sort of get the output. But with games, it's actually about what part of your hardware creates the most latency, and it's about like where the
bottleneck is. Just like I said, where the bottleneck is. Yeah.
But there's always going to be a bottleneck. Always, you cannot.
True. Always, yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yes. So like
is the bottleneck? I'm arguing, is the bottleneck even relevant? Well, right. If you're gaming at 75 frames per second like a normal human, unless you have like military Marines eye movement level, a cat's eye, are you going to notice between 75, 144, and 240? I don't think you will. I challenge you. Hold on. I'm going to post something on TikTok that challenges your eye movement to see which one. I know what to post exactly too. I'm going to do that. Okay. Because I bet you won't be able to tell the difference between 75, 144 and 240 frames per second. I don't think you'll be able to notice unless you're like serious Fortnite or some kind of gun shooting gamer, you're very serious.
There is a video I saw. Paul's Hardware did one a few years back, and he had a group of people come together to do exactly this, to actually see whether your eyes can notice, like, I think they did 30, 60, 100, 120, 240, all on this, in the same game, with the same monitors, running the same hardware, to see whether you'd be a better gamer as a result of this sort of thing. And they had about 5 or 6 different people. They had like esports pros. They had just sort of enthusiast gamers. They had people who had no idea what the hell they were on about, like myself. And they were like, "Can you actually? What's the most preferred setup?" And it was quite a relevant video, actually, because you would normally think, "Oh, it's all sponsored. Oh, it's all paid for. Oh, you can't quite trust the results." But actually,
what were the results?
But actually,
I want to hear the results.
Well, speaking of that, maybe I'll go post that in the chat. But
interesting. Okay.
Why is Chrome being buggy?
Chrome is RAM heavy. It's a memory hog, dude. It does good things, but it's a memory hog. Just so you know, open Chrome before you open OBS. Just FYI.
Oh, I know what's happened. It's running full screen. Nope. Oh, there it goes. Yep, it's back. It's back now. It's running full screen. There we go. Perfect.
What's up, Opogo? I see you. Opogo, stand for the rest of this.
It sounds like it's going to get a bit more wild than I anticipated.
I'm sorry. I'll calm down.
No, it's all good.
I get heated about this stuff, dude. I get heated about this stuff, bro.
All good. It's absolutely relevant. Got to keep it spicy,
Right.
Because otherwise it's boring, and like people don't.
That's true.
People don't want to come. People don't want to come in for the facts, do they?
They want to come for the facts. They just want to come for the effects, right? They want to come for the software, not the hardware.
No,
unfortunately.
you're watching this on the software through hardware. So like
that's true.
It's the software.
He's got an argument. He's got it. Nothing. You can never defeat hardware because it always comes back to the hardware. Always. You can never defeat him. He's invincible. Hardware is invincible, dude.
Funny. Right. All right. Shall we get in? Shall we actually? Because you said you're on a time thing. All right. You know, we actually got to. We got to talk about some technology. We got to talk about technology. But
just the kids got to get to bed at some point. That's the problem.
Right. True. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. If you need to take an
okay, thank you.
If you need to take an intermission,
no worries, dude. I'll let you know. I'll let you know, hardware. I appreciate it. You're very hospitable. Your hospitality is just incredible, dude.
That's what I I've got to be able to work around people because otherwise like everyone's got busy lives. Everybody sort of does their own thing, and it's like. Oh, if you can't do this, and I'm the complete opposite at the moment, at least anyway. And it's like you've got to be able to, you've got to be.
Things will change, hardware. Things will change, and then you'll be secondary streaming and primary something else. So just keep in mind your followers, dude. Your followers love you and they want to see you on screen. So don't forget your followers or your subs. I'm one of the hardware subs. I sub to hardware. I use my Prime subscription for hardware solely. Never subscribe to anyone with Prime, but hardware. So just so you know.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Man. Appreciate that. No, I need to actually get Twitch Prime working because I heard last night that it does actually work.
Yeah, I don't know. I have Amazon Prime. I connected it to my Twitch account. I'm subscribed to hardware with my Twitch Prime. So there you go.
Oh wow, there you go. Because I didn't know that it worked here because I heard it worked everywhere else but here. So it's like
interesting.
But I thought, well, now I know that it works. I should actually get Prime so I can watch free.
I use it, but that's in America. That's in North America. So I don't know about any other parts of the world, but North America, dude.
Yeah. No,
Kin's Apogo, what do you say? I guess Kin is following it to the gym. You want me to go to the gym, bro? Is that what you're saying? Which way to the beach, dude? Which way to the beach? That's what Apogo's saying, dude.
He's rickrolling us.
Follow Prime to the gym.
He's rickrolling us.
There you go.
He's rickrolling us. Oh,
nice, Apogo. Nice.
Yeah.
He
did that once. He's got to do it again. He was on a roll once.
Check out Apogo's YouTube too. Apogo does cinematic Beam NG. That's not easy to do.
No.
Like I looked at the cinematics for Beam, and that's not easy to do. So good job, Apogo. Seriously, good job.
Yeah. Should we talk about some networking and servers?
Okay, let's talk about networking.
Is that why we're here?
Yeah, I took a look at the preamble you sent out. So I don't know 100% of this stuff, but what I'm concerned about is how much of this is actually individual consumer and not enterprise business.
Oh, I know, but that's what servers are, right? It's a business stuff, isn't it, really?
Is it?
Yeah.
So hold on, I'm interested in servers. Yeah. I have to weed through business material to get to what I want.
Yes.
Like I'm not interested in that. I want to know what individual servers can do for me, not what a business. I don't need 400 gigabits per second server if I'm just trying to run a Minecraft. Like I just want to play Minecraft on like Among Us Minecraft type thing. Like I don't need 400 gigabits per second. So what do I do?
Well, we could talk about more relevant things, but this is sort of what I wanted to bring up. But if you don't want to talk about it, it's all good.
No. You go ahead.
No?
I'm interested. Hold on. I want to hear what you say about the server stuff because I'm interested in individual versus enterprise, and I'm very mad at server marketing for not targeting individual. It's not fair because server marketing is trying to explode their business, which I understand. You got to make a profit. But you got to have something for individuals too. You can't just market enterprise stuff that has nothing to do with the individual, like the gamer that wants to set up a server at home, that wants to do streaming. It just doesn't. Something isn't logical here. So let me hear this part here. I want to hear this part, and then I'll comment for sure. If I haven't commented already, I got to shut up. That's the problem. They couldn't shut me up in high school. They can't shut me up now. So nothing's changed. I got to be quiet and let the expert talk. That's the problem.
Oh, no, that's all good. It's a good balanced discussion because otherwise I'm just here talking to like a brick wall. And it's like...
Go ahead.
And
you go.
Like,
You go. You're
are you
the
on
expert.
about?
You're hardware. I'm software.
Yeah.
For this episode, you're hardware. I'm software.
Right.
Let's go.
All right. So this is the new, and this was announced at the GTC, I think. The 400 gigabits per second switches. It's obviously come off the back of the acquisition of Aquantia that happened a couple of years ago, and this is their proprietary hardware that's got fiber channel that can connect multiple network nodes at 400 gigabits per second. It's actually got its own dedicated ARM-based computer that you require to use this particular networking. It's got 16 ARM cores. So 16 cores that run on your cell phone to run this particular network chip. And it runs on a PCIe ATX interface at Gen 4, which requires some fairly high-end networking gear to run the full networking.
So hold on. This is marketed to enterprise and not individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
What individual cares about half the things you just said? Not that it's not important. It's just what on earth am I purchasing here if I want to look at something like this? If I'm not like a 30-plus employee business, what do I care? And even if you're a 30-plus employee, do you need 400?
No.
Did you say gigabits per second?
Gigabits, which is about 80.
So what?
80
Hold on. What
gigabytes.
human needs to use 400 gigabits per second networking? I'm not comprehending what the relevance is to real life here.
Unless you're like Google or Facebook or Amazon, then or a supercomputer, like you're running multi,
so
predicting the weather.
NASA basically hasn't interested in this.
Yes.
Nobody else but NASA has an interest in this.
Or
Fine.
Amazon
Agreed.
Or Facebook,
Agreed.
Or Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, they'd be running this sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, so YouTube I could see, but they transcode all their video. Another discussion, but they transcode all their video. So
They do.
not sure they need that. Not sure they even need that, but another discussion.
No.
Sorry.
No, it's all
I don't
good.
mean to.
It's all good.
Hold on. I'm very opinionated.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
very
okay.
opinionated.
It's all good. I've also, talking about relevant, slightly more relevant stuff to consumers, they've obviously taken up really precious 7 nanometer production node technology to produce these chips that are running these network cards. So if you're wondering where all the production space is going, blame Nvidia at the moment for.
And hold on, available to the public or no, or available to select individuals / businesses.
To be honest, I would say if you hit up Nvidia, you probably could buy them. I don't think they care who they sell to. But obviously, unless you're getting like a bulk deal, like you're getting like their switches, you're getting their GPU security, which we're talking about very shortly, and like their software package, I don't think they'll make it cheap for you. But
not fair. So not fair, first of all, but so be it. So be it. That's the world. The world is not fair, so whatever.
Yeah, so I don't you could buy the 400 gigabit switch if you wanted, but I would imagine you'd be looking at, probably
if you're using. I am very curious. If you're an individual that needs 400 gigabits, I'm curious what you're doing. And I'm also going to report you to the FDA because I'm very worried about what you're doing with 400 gigabits. Like, that's a lot of networking. So hold on. RecFest, right? Hardware? RecFest uses what? What do they recommend upload? Oh. You click on server. What do they recommend your upload speed be?
Oh, it'd probably be like 1 to 10.
I'll tell you what it is.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what it is. 8 gigabits per second, bro.
Megabits.
8 gigabits per second.
Megabits.
8 megabits. You're right. Not gigabits. Megabits. So even funnier. 8 megabits. 400 gigabits. What? Does anybody care? I mean, I understand they're targeting businesses and targeting like Amazon or YouTube or something, but come on, man. Get real. Get something to the consumers that they could actually use, because that's not relevant to me.
No, it's not. No, It's not.
They got to have 2 tiers, and they're not marketing for the individual tiers.
This is like the Halo product. They've obviously got things further down the stack. You know, they don't just sell one thing.
Hey, if I could choose between 8 megabits and 400 gigabits, I'll take the 400 gigabits. But is it going to cost me like $200,000 a year to run a secondary NVIDIA server only? Like that's not going to happen. No. Not going to happen.
No. So they do have.
So I don't know. I don't know the answers to this. I'm just speaking as an individual consumer that knows little to nothing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's also crazy that they require dedicated accelerators to run this networking stuff. Like it's no longer just called a network.
I see what you're saying too, Apogo, in the chat. I see what you're saying, dude. I recognize it. Apogo.
Singing a song.
I know you don't acknowledge chat in the podcast, but I see Apogo.
No, that's all right.
I see you.
It's okay. I don't mind opening it up. At the moment, I don't mind because it's like someone that he's just being a troll. And that's okay.
But a good troll. I like Apogo. Apogo's at every stream, and he's loyal, so I appreciate it, Apogo.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Seriously, dude.
And I appreciate him being here as well. Absolutely. Okay, we'll move on to a little bit of the security stuff that runs these particular chips and things and what this means. Basically, they're able to predict things before it happens. Breaches and and how this really morphs into the hardware and really what this require this AI GPU accelerated security that actually knows at all times what's happening on the whole at 400 gigabits. So you think trying to run security on a network that runs that quickly is pretty insane. But this is the software that they've developed to actually be in contact with the software, the hardware that keep in contact with the software to tell it what's happening at all times at all parts of the network, which is crazy.
Apogo, you're right. You're right in saying this is the macho man of software. So this is something that's interesting.
Yes.
Even to an individual.
Yes.
So if I'm running, for example, I'm streaming and I'm running a BeamNG server.
Yeah.
Very vulnerable, by the way, to hackers and malicious individuals who have no business being in a BeamNG server. Okay?
Exactly.
But so hold on. This is interesting to the individual consumer. So yeah, this is something that's not just at enterprise level. This is something that I would be interested in too. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to say because obviously I don't know. They haven't sort of released like their white papers and all that sort of thing, and I'm not sure.
But if they can give you a warning, if they can predict what's going to happen and they can give you a warning before something is occurring, like this is a big deal for an individual that doesn't have like a security company that they pay $100,000 for to monitor their servers.
Yep.
This is a big deal.
And obviously with enterprise grade stuff, and this is sort of, I guess, on the whole, why I see it relevant to an extent, is that it normally trickles down, right? You normally see this stuff, give it a few years, and running in the consumer space, give it 5 years, and you'll see this sort of technology built into network chips that you'll see on basic or even on motherboards. You'll see running, even if it won't require NVIDIA dedicated hardware, it might run through the CPU, or they might run through the GPU to actually run the security for your network, which is actually...
And NVIDIA's not messing around, right? Like they know what they're doing business wise.
Yeah.
So they're not. Don't always worry about NVIDIA because it says NVIDIA in like the press releases or whatever you see. Just be careful. NVIDIA's smart. Smart marketing wise.
Oh yes.
So just be careful. It's not just NVIDIA that's doing this kind of things, but just be careful. They're smart though, marketing wise. Very smart. They got talented people working for their marketing department.
They are the kings, I would say, of marketing in the consumer tech space. They know more than anybody about it. And I guess that's sort of, in some ways, why I see them as problematic. Because they know how to win the minds of consumers without even delivering 100% on what they've been able to do, and almost in Apple fashion in some ways. But I still
Apple's another story. Hold on. Apple. So let me tell you something. Just from being a Apple and Windows user for my business.
Okay.
So for video editing, using Apple and Windows, using Apples, right? I'm just using Apples to program stuff. So hold on. Apple is. I think of Apple as like the Ferrari V8 highly tuned engine, and Windows as the Dodge Viper over-litered V10 engine. Both have benefits.
Yes.
But when it comes down to it, you can get more out of an Apple just because they spend time on, for example, their RAM. So using 8 gigabytes of RAM on an Apple is almost equivalent to 16 to 32 on a Windows machine. So that's another story. But just Apple is different. They use their RAM totally differently. So I just looked this up recently because I was interested in timings of RAM, and I have an Apple for some of my clients use Final Cut Pro for their editing. And other clients use Adobe on Windows. So I have to switch between the two. So Apple, very efficient. I'll just say it's very efficient. So I have an M1 MacBook Pro just because I have to use it for clients. And it's just I don't use it for gaming, obviously. No. Apple, I'm sorry, Apple. I love your video editing, but gaming, what are you doing? You're leaving out like 50% of your market with terrible gaming, man. Like, what are you doing? You have the power. Your M1 chip is like an i9. Your M1 chip is equivalent to an i9. Why are you not interested in gaming? Whatever. But the RAM difference is like a Ferrari versus a Dodge Viper, like that kind of difference. So that's my experience anyway. But what do I know? What do I know? I'm just an individual consumer, not an enterprise.
Exactly. And the thing is with Apple is like they've only got to program their stuff for one set of hardware. That's the thing. It's like they know exactly what they're doing.
And it's all meshed.
Yes.
So CPU, GPU, RAM, all one unit as far as I know. That's what if I opened up my MacBook right now, sitting right here, if I opened up my MacBook, all of it would be in like one integrated circuit. Not heard of for a Windows PC. Not heard of for any other.
It has been.
Maybe. Okay, so maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
ARM-based Windows machines. Actually, Windows 10 was the first OS to natively support ARM-based chips. Like if you look at
manufacturers are doing this. MSI, Corsair, they're doing this. They're integrating things together. It just seems like a bad. It seems like a bad business decision. That's why it won't happen with Windows. It's a bad business decision.
I hate everything being all one thing because you can't repair it. You can't diagnose it.
You can't upgrade it. If I open my MacBook, I would need like a serious diagnostic manual to figure out what to do exactly to not screw it up. So I would never touch I just put it on my Discord. I just added 16 extra gigabytes of RAM to Windows PC. Would never do that with an Apple. Like I'm scared to open the Apple. I'm scared to open it.
I don't think you even can. A lot of it's soldered these days. It's actually directly on.
I don't know if you can. You're right. You're right. I have no idea if you can. And Pogo, you want to send my computer to the gym, bro? My computer doesn't need the gym. My computer is jacked already, bro. So thanks, Pogo, for that.
Oh dear, it's crazy. Yeah, but I know exactly. Yeah, so I suppose for the last bit of this Nvidia stuff, before we go into AMD, which is more my bread and butter, it does say a little bit about this chip here that is running these particular things. So it's actually got 16 gigabytes of DDR5 memory built onto this network accelerator. 16 gigs of RAM just to run.
I already have something to say. But go ahead. Finish first, and then I'll speak.
Yes, 16 cores, 256 threads. What else have we got? It's got all this AI acceleration. Obviously, it's built for all the Pixie boot. Obviously, it would have to do that. And this is another white paper for the chip, which is absolutely just blown away. Like this, I can't believe that it require this sort of hardware to run a network chip. Like I thought, a network chip that you're required to build, it's one tiny wee thing on your motherboard. It says, gigabit or 2.5 gigabit or 10 gigabit in some cases. for consumer grade stuff. But this is like, I remember seeing this, it was like 400. 400. What's going on? What do you know? And then I was sort of reading into it. I thought, actually, it requires 32 lanes of PCIe Gen 5, not even Gen 4. 32 lanes. Oh
so you're
God.
playing. Okay, no, finish first. Okay, hold on. I'm not gonna go off yet.
No. NVMe acceleration as well, so you can run NVMe devices straight on the accelerator, so you can actually add storage to this particular. It's basically a small computer. This is basically. Oh no, don't worry about the rest of it. Just buy this Nvidia accelerator and just run your whole system off it. But I don't think it.
So you're playing Fortnite online with your friends.
Yeah.
Right. 60 frames. You're streaming Fortnite, even better. You're streaming Fortnite capped at 60 frames per second with your friends.
Yeah.
Capped at 60 frames, and you need 400 gigabits, or you need a separate processor to encode your network data, or whatever this is claiming to do. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But what realistic, real world, individual scenario does this have for anybody? This is purely an enterprise tactic.
Absolutely.
And I understand enterprise if you're a big company like YouTube or Amazon or something, fine.
Yeah.
But there's got to be something else for for individual now, because it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, I got the max of my ISP. My ISP's maxed out, and your card is like the card that you provided with your PC, whether it's MSI or Apple even or anybody, your card is maxed out too.
Yeah.
So like, what can I do from here? And this is not a relevant solution to an individual.
And realistically, I think what's starting to happen, as I've seen, is like, for my network and what I'm looking at doing, basically the best approach you can have is buying used enterprise gear, essentially. Because obviously, if you want to buy like 10 gigabit per second networking, they're starting to come out with consumer stuff, but the problem is like, that stuff is actually expensive because it's new.
So Nvidia, did you hear that, Nvidia? Did you hear that? Buying used enterprise gear. Why don't you have an individual tier that you can market to people like hardware that are willing to buy something for individual tier? Why does he have to buy a used enterprise tier? Not fair. Not fair. I like your products.
Yes.
Not fair.
No. And like, and the thing is they're building new 10 gigabit stuff. It is becoming, but it's expensive because they're obviously producing it with new technology and new software and all that sort of thing that comes with it.
And Apogo, I see your comment, Apogo. You play on 60 FPS, so you play on Nintendo Switch, you play on even PlayStation, whatever your TV's. Your TV's probably like 60 to 120 FPS, maybe if you're lucky, it's 120. So you're not like, what do you need here? What do you really need? If you're not like used to very fast motion, if you're not like a cat following a mouse around every day, you probably won't need greater than 60 FPS. You won't notice the difference. And I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna post it because I want to see if anybody can tell the difference. And I'm gonna do a double blind. I'm gonna do it smart, right? I'm gonna do it smart, where you can't cheat the system, and I'm going to see if you can tell the difference between 60, 75, and up to 240. I don't think anybody can tell the difference between 70. I think 75 for a gamer, you can tell the difference between 60 and 75, but above 75, you won't be able to tell the difference unless you're a really serious competitor in Fortnite, Call of Duty, something where there's extremely fast motion that you're used to. I don't think you'll be able to tell the difference, and I'm going to post something because I can't tell the difference. Like 75 for me is perfect. If I go to 240, I can't tell the difference. I had a 240 monitor. I can't tell the difference. I'm not that good. So stop lying to yourself and save yourself some money. Seriously, because you're trying to get 240 frames per second. That's not necessary for your brain or your human eye, unless you're like a serious military Marine that's been like dropped from paratroopers. So I don't know.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, I feel I can, to an extent, Because I
Okay.
yeah, I feel I can because
I'm gonna test you, hardware. I'm
Yeah,
gonna test you.
okay.
I'm
Alright.
gonna post something publicly for hardware to test on.
All right, that sounds good.
I'm not saying you can't. I believe you can because you're a serious hardware person. So if anybody can do it, I believe it's hardware. I believe hardware can tell the difference between a 60 up to a 240. I believe he can tell the difference.
I think if you go above 144, I probably couldn't, or even
Okay,
even
144.
100, maybe 120.
Okay.
I probably would struggle. Because,
Yeah, for me above 75, I can't tell. Like I literally can't tell the difference. 75 is a good like monitor for me. 75.
Okay. All right. Are we getting bored of infrastructure and server talk already, or are we able to continue? Where do you want to go?
You tell me. You
All
tell
right,
me.
all
I
right.
keep going off on tangents. I'm bad at tangents. I'm very bad at tangents. I will stick to your schedule.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, this is AMD's behemoth that they've just thrown out the gauntlet to Nvidia just at the same conference that Nvidia was launching their networking gear at a couple of weeks back now. This is the MI200 or the CDNA2 GPU, which is basically CDNA. All they've done was they've got, what can we do with the Vega GPUs that were quite successful for the consumer and actually were produced on behalf of Apple. Apple wanted the design to use in their iMacs and their MacBook Pros, and they're like, so we've got this really good compute chip. So they've basically taken out all the stuff that produces the graphics. Obviously server GPUs don't need graphic capabilities, and they've gone and tuned it to run server applications only. But this stuff does actually trickle down. The CDNA, actually the technology that's run into that is sort of integrated into some of the technologies that you see in the consumer GPUs. But this is the second generation of that. And this is, as you can see from the photo, it looks like two individual GPUs, doesn't it? But in fact, it's one. They've been able to combine them together for the first time. This is the first multi-chip module system that's out in the wild.
Apple. Apple.
They don't have MCM. They don't have it. They've got one chip.
So Apple, wait a minute. Apple, hold on, is interested in integrating all chips into like a unified silicone product.
Yeah. But this isn't.
Yeah,
carry on.
No. I thought the M1 chip infrastructure, the Apple M1 in-house silicone chip, was interested in integrating all networking, RAM, GPU, CPU into one silicone chip. Okay.
That's been ARM since the outset. This is actually ARM technology because they don't have separate chips for graphics. They don't have separate chips for networking or cameras or anything like that. They've got everything's all in one, and that's what ARM.
Okay.
But obviously with more x86 systems, they've got separate chips for graphics, networking, computation, and all that sort of thing is all separate. But this is just talking about GPUs. This is just a GPU that they've been able to link together over a high bandwidth bus to act as one GPU. But this and it's actually going to be faster than Nvidia's compute-based GPU, even probably the next generation compute-based GPU that Nvidia will be putting out as well, because of, this is running memory bandwidth of this particular chip is 3.2 terabytes a second, up to 128 gigabytes of this on one GPU, 128 gigabytes of RAM. You're looking at 48 teraflops of compute performance at 6 FP64, which is double precision stuff. So if you're looking, regular stuff is FP32, which is single precision, then you've got FP16, which is half precision. And your regular GPU puts out maybe 10 to 20 teraflops, depending on the GPU. This is at FP32. This runs almost 100 teraflops at single precision. And it's 380 at half precision, which is absolutely, and they're claiming about 1 to 2 times the performance of the current gen Nvidia compute system.
Interesting.
It's going to be requiring about 500 watts to power this thing. They are actually, this is on a particular, does it have a picture of it down here? No, it doesn't. Anyway.
Hold on, hardware. I'm just going to take Joseph here.
No
he just
worries.
needs 1 second. I'm going to be back in 1 second. Okay, Joseph's just right here.
No worries.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, I'll be back in 1 second.
I'll continue my ramble. Sounds good. Okay. So this is like looking at about what are we looking at? $5,000. Oh no. Oh yeah. Looking at prices, they're looking at about 14.5 grand for the top model. They do have the MI210, which is I think it's only got one chip. Oh no, it does have two chips, but it's obviously quite considerably cut down to about. But it's still insanely, for something that's beating Nvidia, is not bad. Obviously the MI210 is actually the add-in card. So you can plug it into your PCIe system if you want to run it in your normal computer. I think if you have drivers, it will probably be supported. Your 2 times 1.2 terabytes a second. It's got slower RAM. It's got less of it, 96 gigabytes. It does, and it's about 15, probably about 10% slower than the regular, maybe a little bit more than 10%, but 6 nanometer. So it's even on a slightly more cut down node than 7 nanometer. So it's even smaller, but it's not quite 7 It's not quite 5 nanometer, which is the next true node that is coming out for these people. I think Apple's already using 5 nanometer for the M1 Max, but it's sort of not. It's obviously very limited production of that sort of thing. But this is actually insane. I'm quite blown away that AMD has been able to do MCM, and because I did say about it, they've obviously got MCM CPUs. They've got, and this is the first time GPUs will be supported under MCM. And
sorry, hardware.
No, it's all
back
good.
Now.
You're back. I'm just rambling.
The joys of an 8-year-old child, right?
I'm actually not going to comment publicly. There you go. I won't comment publicly on that.
You read the waiver. I did. I'm just joking.
I did. It's all good.
It's all good. Thanks, hardware. Appreciate it, dude.
No.
Follow your GPU to the gym, Pogo said. Follow your GPU to the gym, bro.
Yeah. This is already at the gym. This is the guy.
It's already at the gym.
This is the guy who's showing off to everybody. And how
there's 2 GPUs in one?
Yep.
Is that the basic premise of this?
Yep. They've got silicon within. They've got copper within the silicon that links these two GPUs together in what they call the Infinity Fabric technology. So
they're basically doing with GPUs what they've done with RAM, right? Like you can put 2 8GB sticks. Now you can put 2 GPUs together. Is that the basic premise of this, or no? Is this something different?
No, this is them acting like one GPU. This is a scene.
Okay. Well, the RAM you can link the RAM and act like one RAM. So this sounds similar.
Yeah. Because they've got memory. Well, I guess this is.
This sounds similar to linked. This sounds similar to linked RAM timing. You're just linking your 2 GPUs, which is great. I'm all for it. This is awesome.
I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to sort of parallel that conversation. Actually, give me a second.
Okay. Yeah. No worries.
Because I know your CPU's got a memory controller, right? And they see one channel. The memory controller sees one channel on your motherboard. So they've got 2, obviously, for most systems, 4 for the enthusiast systems, and so you can see. But they don't run a. They sort of don't run a fabric. I guess it kind of is a fabric, but it's sort of similar because these obviously have memory controllers on them too. But this is actually running. They've obviously got fabric controllers built in to the system.
Okay, VRAM. First of all, VRAM is the most, in my opinion, the most underrated thing you could have. Yeah, VRAM one of the most underrated things that are on the market, probably because it's not making them much money. But VRAM makes a big difference if you're in like VR or something like that. So I feel like this kind of setup.
VRAM is expensive.
Is it really expensive? Because hold on, the 3060, like if you look at the 3060 NVIDIA GPU, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, less than 3060 Ti. Probably actually it's less than everything. It's less than it's like the base NVIDIA that you can get, and it has 12 gigabytes of VRAM, and compared to like 6, 8, or whatever they have for the other NVIDIA. So it's just interesting. I don't know their concept there, but VRAM to me, when I've had many computers, but VRAM has made a big difference in VR. So if you're interested in VR, VRAM makes a big difference in VR. That doesn't give you tunnel vision in VR, and that expands your world basically and renders it pretty well. If you have more than 6 to 8 gigabytes of VRAM, your VR experience will be very good.
With VR, because you've got two screens, right? And they're actually the latest generation screens. I think are running at two 1440p screens in your eyes. So
yeah, and it's the FPS, so they're very high FPS, like at least 90 FPS on the VR, because is what they recommend.
Without getting sick. Apparently, if you see less than 90,
yeah.
you get sick.
Okay, so driving. So like I downloaded a go-kart VR game. It literally made me sick. Like I thought I was going to throw up. So it's that intense. If you have good peripheral vision, if they have a tunnel vision, if you have a crap VR system that's tunnel vision, and it narrows your field of view, you won't get sick. And they actually edit that into games where they allow you to control the comfort level, so you can give yourself tunnel vision so you don't get sick. But then you lose the experience of VR. Why do I even have VR if I'm just tunnel vision? I might as well just be looking at a flat screen.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just interesting, but it really does make you sick. Like I actually get motion sick playing some motion VR games.
Yeah. And then they've got motion simulators as well, where they simulate like planes or simulate cars and things, and you sort of feel the whole
it's pretty intense.
The whole system rocking. That's pretty insane. So this is this sort of covers a little bit more about this fabric technology that you're talking about. The Infinity Fabric, because the AMD Ryzen CPUs use Infinity Fabric, which is their in silicon copper that communicates with particular chips that are on the die. And if you look at it, actually, I'll get a photo up. Actually, let's get a photo up.
What is that actually doing? End result. What is that actually doing for somebody? Is it increasing FPS? Is it increasing resolution?
Well, the thing. Okay, what AMD discovered. All right, let's take it back a notch. Okay, and I guess this is where Intel is still lacking a little bit in some instances. AMD found that building one chip with everything in one area is very expensive, because you've got to allow everything to be manufactured perfectly, and I guess with how complex things are, how small things are getting transistor wise, and and the cost to actually produce this, you can't screw up, and there's always going to be screw ups. You can't make everything perfect. So what AMD decided to invest in, I'll get this up actually here. I'll look at the 3950X.
And by the way, have a problem with the screw up comment.
What's that?
So $180,000 programmer. That's right. That's about the salary for $180,000 salary for an Intel worker. So okay to screw up.
Well,
no, I know what you mean. I know you're exaggerating on the screw up thing. It's not perfect. I feel like some of the things could be done better.
Yeah.
Some of the things are pushed out to market to coincide with certain holiday seasons or certain marketing ploys.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it, but it just seems very coincidental.
So what AMD decided to do was to produce these systems that have these multi-chips that are a lot smaller and a lot less room to screw up because they've got less components on one chip. So they've spread out the logic to, like say in this picture here, that's the first gen EPYC CPUs, which is the server grade ones, and they're basically one lot of CPUs on each chip. But they've done with Zen 2, which is the true multi-chip design, is that big chip in the middle is the I/O. So like your PCI Express, your RAM controller, and the fabric controllers, and those small chips are actually the CPUs themselves. So what they've designed is this particular system that allows the big chip to talk to the small chips. And they found that to be a lot more cost efficient because of the fact that there's less screw-ups in producing smaller chips.
There's got to be what's the trade-off though? What's the trade-off?
The trade-off is latency. Because you've got to allow the information coming in to talk to the I/O die, the big chip, to then send off the information to the small chips. And then if the chip, one of those 8 chips there, wants to communicate with RAM, it's got to go through the I/O die, out to RAM, back to the I/O die, and then back to the CPU. And that increases
So
latency.
what does that mean? What does that mean for like somebody playing Fortnite, streaming it on Twitch at 60 FPS?
Well, probably nothing. Because the latency difference is so small. It's only about 5 to 10 nanoseconds, which is big to someone who plays games at like 240 FPS or 1080p.
Right. So a competitive Fortnite player, a serious competitor.
Yes.
Okay.
You might notice a little bit of extra latency, but for everybody else who streams at 60 FPS or doesn't play a game at such a high resolution that requires RAM access consistently, then it won't be it's not too much of a problem. They've worked it out to an extent. Obviously, as I said, you've got. See you later, Apogo. So I will say goodbye to chat. Thank you for coming by. You're really appreciated. Absolutely.
Thanks, Apogo. Appreciate it. We salute you, Apogo. We salute you, bro.
So yeah, that's sort of a little bit of a summary of these of sort of what this is going back to in terms of like these multi-chip designs, what the Infinity Fabric looks like, and how that's relevant to consumers versus the enterprise stuff, because it's essentially the same technology. It's just like how they've been able to filter it down to, you and I, rather than spending $100,000 on a GPU to work out, this is the same thing, right? And in essence, it is, yes. So yeah, a little bit of an education. I don't normally sort of go that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's sort of worthwhile talking about, because you said you didn't quite understand what it meant and what it did, and
right. For a competitive gamer, yes. For everybody else, for 99% of the population below the competitive gaming realm, no.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Or no.
It's not an issue. Yeah, it's not an issue.
Not an issue. Fair enough.
But obviously, yeah, they've obviously weighed up. It costs less to produce. You can produce more complex circuits. But the trade-off is like, you actually may get slightly less performance, latency-wise. But they're tuning that. It's a continual refinement, because it's a very new thing. Zen 2 only came out in 2019. 2018, I believe it was. So realistically, it hasn't been around a long time. And I think that's why games are still having issues, because they're still built from the ground up to run on Intel chips.
I see.
Tuned for their particular architecture, which is the old school ring bus, which is like each core has
I detect a non-Intel bias here. I detect an AMD bias here. Detecting something
I'm
there.
learning to be impartial. I'm learning to be impartial. I have to be.
Keep learning, Hardware. Yes. Keep learning.
Because
I'm just joking.
No, it's all good. No, this is someone calling me out on my distrust and dishonesty.
I'm not an expert on any of it, but it's just, Intel, I don't know. Just you go first.
Yeah. No, it's all good. No, it's just something I've had problems with Intel marketing. I've had problems with their stagnation of the market, and obviously their complacency of having no competition, because AMD up until Ryzen was basically on the brink of probably becoming non-existent, realistically
Well, I
speaking.
mean, AMD, as of right now, if you wanted the fastest computer on Earth, I think an AMD would probably win.
No,
It's just no. You don't think so?
12th gen.
Oh,
If you want a consumer-based system,
Consumer, yeah, I'm talking consumer, not enterprise.
Yeah, 12th gen is faster. The new.
Okay, interesting,
Yep.
interesting. Because AMD has some fast components. Like they're no joke. Like, AMD is not bad at all.
No, well, people thought of them as a joke. People thought they were just going to die.
Yeah, they're not
water.
a joke. Yeah, definitely not a joke. But
no. But no, if you wanted the fastest consumer grade system at the moment, it's the 12, certainly the 12900K, which is the they've got this hybrid design, which is kind of weird. They've got these 16 core. No. Oh no, I'm gonna have to look it up now. You've got me curious. It's weird. So the 12900K.
From what I've seen, the top Intel versus the top Ryzen. Ryzen's winning on benchmark, but not on FPS. If I'm correct on this.
No, it's all gone to Intel now. It's actually all gone to Intel.
You're right. Okay, so maybe I'm outdated then on that.
12th
But
gen is literally.
I mean, we're talking unrealistic for 99% of the people buying a computer right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's no, it used to be AMD who ran on the multi-core performance because of the fact that their inter-core connectivity is a lot better than Intel's.
So when you run a game, if let's say you're running a game, whatever you're doing, and you're streaming from a dual PC setup, so you're just focused on the game. You're running. Are you concerned about multi-core or are you concerned about single core?
Games
when you're just running the game.
Games are now becoming multi-core. Because what that's dictated by is actually the consoles, because they want to have the least amount of development time to port a game, because games are developed for consoles first.
So now when you're overclocking, you want an all-core ratio and not just like a turbo ratio where you're just overclocking certain cores at a single moment.
That's the easiest,
you want all cores overclocked.
That's the easiest way.
Okay, interesting.
Yes,
okay.
And because some cores will be better than other cores. In terms of even in one chip, like some cores might go higher than others, but Intel generally, I think up until recently they haven't given the option of doing like single core.
Well, I think if you have an i5 8th gen Intel or better, you can pretty much run any game. It's not your CPU that's limiting you. There's something else that's the problem if you're having trouble running a game at like ultra graphics. Like there's something else going on there.
Yeah, the 8400 is, which is
there's you're not bottlenecked on your CPU if you're running it overclocked. Even at the turbo, like the Intel Turbo, like that if you run that, and you shouldn't be bottlenecked at your CPU. Like something else is going on.
Not yet. Very shortly.
Because you can run a 2.9. Like I have a 2.9 gigahertz CPU that runs at 4.6 or 4.8.
Yeah.
And there's no CPU bottleneck there. So and it's not an expensive CPU by any means at this point. It's 10th gen, but even if you have an 8th gen, like my streaming PC is 8th gen, and it handles a lot, like VR, and it's a laptop, it's a laptop 8th gen Intel, and it's not. There's no struggle running VR. So it's just you really got to watch where your bottleneck is, and I feel like if it's 1080p, your bottleneck's going to be your RAM. If it's anything above 1080p, your bottleneck's your GPU.
If it's anything, it's actually a CPU that gets bottlenecked at 1080p.
Interesting. Yeah, my CPU doesn't go over like 30 to 60%, and the GPU is at 100. And it's interesting to look at the ratios of what's actually being bottlenecked.
because you want your GPU to be 100%. You want to be able to
you want it to be, you want it running 100%,
feed everything it can. But say your GPU is not running at 100%, then you've actually got a CPU bottleneck because you're not feeding it everything that it wants. Because your CPU might be at 100%, and that's when there's a problem. If your CPU is running it flat out all the time, then it's like you're
that's definitely a problem.
Then you're not actually giving the GPU the information.
That's when your fan explodes in your case. Like the YouTube videos. That's when you run Minecraft at 240 chunks instead of the 64 recommended, and your fan explodes. That's when that happens.
I've seen computers catch on fire.
I've seen that too.
Like this is fine. You remember that? Have you seen that?
This is fine.
That cartoon dog with all the flames.
Hashtag still works.
It still works.
Doesn't matter. It's on fire, but it's still working.
It still works. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, but the 12th gen is 8 P cores and 8 E cores. So they've got this hybrid design of these performance cores, which is like the ones you wanted to run games on, and then the efficient cores runs like your background tasks. Like if you've got Discord open, if you're running Chrome, if you're streaming, it might run on the E cores. But you've got the P cores, you want to run the 8 cores that runs your games. However, normally, and they don't have hyper-threading, which is like their way of sort of almost duplicating the amount of cores that you have. It's a software hack, essentially, that duplicates the amount of bandwidth that your CPU has. They run that on the P cores, but not the E cores.
So wait, E cores. Explain E cores again, because I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Think of like
virtualization technology. E cores.
No, E-cores are
I'm
physical.
thinking of something.
E-cores are physical.
Okay, they're physical. Okay.
But think of it, because your phone has done the same thing. They actually have they have this thing called big little technology that came up with about almost 10 years ago now, where basically they've got these performance cores which they've programmed the software to say, if you're running a game, run on this, and if you're not running a game, run on this. So basically, so they've done that now with your desktop CPU. You can say, okay, look, I want to run the game on this set of processing cores and run your background task on these, and it's sort of the software has been able to determine what that is and how that's going to work. I would say you can do some manual overriding if you wanted.
I hope so. I hope so. If you're a gamer, if you're somebody that actually wants performance, I hope so.
But it will automatically detect that it's a game and run
on
the cores anyway.
Okay.
But say you wanted to run them on all the cores, do everything on all the cores, then you could probably do that as well.
Okay.
But in terms of the virtual sort of stuff like the hyper-threading, I guess it's like the software telling the CPU to say, instead of taking one instruction this clock, you can take 2 instructions per clock, and it will feed it 2, and it will technically run it at twice the speed because it knows that it's sort of duplicating the instruction in a way.
That's significant then. That's significant.
Well, that's hyper-threading has been around since almost day dot. Intel it was almost their saving bullet back in the single core days, because AMD technically had a superior architecture, but they didn't have hyper-threading, so they didn't actually have that software that actually told it to do that sort of speed up, that virtual sort of speed up that does actually work if you turn a hyper-threading off on your CPU. I feel like there's a
trade-off though. I feel like when you do these kind of it's almost like a trick that it's performing. I feel like there's a trade-off that's going to happen with some kind of resolution or FPS. Something's going to be traded off.
No, not at all. No, it's actually
interesting.
It's a very well built-in software thing. It's been around so long that actually if you turn it off, you lose performance.
Interesting.
Essentially, you lose performance, but it does if you're doing extreme overclocking, like good nitrogen or dry ice or anything like that, then it actually can cause instability, because it's sort of like it's not designed to be run at that frequency, and if you turn it off, then it'll actually be but for 99.999%, 4 out of 4 dentists agree that actually it's a fine system to use.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Just to let you know, hardware, FYI, 5 to 10 minutes. So just FYI.
Oh, well, ma'am.
The 8-year-old thing, dude. The 8-year-old thing.
Oh, we've been going off on too many tangents, ma'am.
It's all right. No worries, dude. No worries. It's awesome, though. Very
That's-
good conversation. Interesting.
good.
Things I didn't know. Things I didn't think about either. So interesting.
Okay. Well, we'll quickly cover the hardware news, the more general topics.
Okay.
Case Labs. Oh, I was literally in tears when I heard this was actually coming back. But these are an amazing case company that's based out of the US. They do all their manufacturing there, and they basically they're almost like IKEA. They come flat packed. You build them yourself. You can add in all these bits and pieces as well. They're actually really damn expensive. Honestly.
Okay, so
But
do you really need a case? Like if you had like
Yes.
like the benchmark CPUs where they have it out in the open.
the bench. Yeah,
Like
the test bench.
isn't that ideal? Like wouldn't
No.
that be ideal?
Well,
no. Okay, I'm interested. I'm interested in hearing this answer.
Well, like I don't like it really, but it is ideal.
Okay.
Open ear is good, but
Right.
in terms of actually airflow, you actually get, if it's more focused airflow that you'd get in a case because it's directing the air more, because obviously it's in a sealed box.
Right.
You do get better performance. Well, not performance.
Yeah, you
but
get
better
literally
airflow. 'Cause
aerodynamics. You have
air
aerodynamics,
pressure,
but
yes.
okay.
But open air is good for a consistency. Like you're not relying on fans to actually direct the temperature of the system, because obviously it's got the ambient air, and obviously within a case the ambient temperature goes up because the components heat up and actually increases the ambient air.
They're enclosed. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like is it a benefit really? You're enclosing it and then you're adding in aerodynamic airflow. Is it really a benefit?
I think it's
but
dust more than anything. If you want to think,
it's a what?
The dust problem.
Oh, dust. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
dust. Get rid of the dust. Yeah, okay.
Exact-
I mean, if you run your CPU every day, I don't see dust building up. I think it would just be, but still,
Yes,
differing
it does.
opinions. Yeah,
It does.
it does. Okay,
Yeah.
even if you run it every day,
Run what?
you
every
run your
day?
CPU, you run your computer you turn on your computer
yeah.
every day. You
Yeah.
press the button,
Yeah.
and then there's no way dust will be sitting on your fans if you're running it every day.
No,
I mean,
it
some
does.
degree, of course.
Yeah.
Even in a case, it would. My computer's in a case right now. There's got to be some dust on there,
Yeah.
but it can't be. It's got to be minuscule.
Well, it'll be on the filters as well.
Okay.
Like, yeah,
okay.
and I think if you're blocking your filters, then obviously you're not getting the airflow, which means
True,
in
yeah.
a lot of cases, quote, not no pun intended, because of the lack of airflow that a lot of cases have, you actually lose performance because you're not getting the airflow that you deserve. And if you've got dust on top of that, then actually you'll be increasing the ambient temperatures inside your case so much that you'll be throttling. You'll be throttling your CPU
Right.
and losing a lot of performance rather than just a little bit. But
So liquid cooling negates that. Liquid
no,
cooling
because
is.
you still get dust on your radiator and your fans and your radiator. So it's like
Okay, never thought of that. I don't have a liquid cool, so I don't know. I don't know about liquid cool. I never had a liquid cool yet. I don't
No.
know if it's worth investing in, because it just
yes.
seems like it's not.
Yes,
I don't know yet.
it is to an all-in-one, like just like if you bought like a Corsair one or an NXT one or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes, because your system will be quieter, and I mean the only problem with those sealed units compared to, like an open loop one like I have, is the fact that you can't maintain a sealed unit. So when the liquid dries up, or if the pump dies, or things like that, you just have to throw the whole thing out and buy a new one.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Because they don't make it. Well, you can open them up to clean them or whatever, but you can't refill them. You can't replace the pump.
Right.
And it's like, so the benefit of going with an open loop, like a custom loop, they call it more readily, is the fact that each individual component is separate. So they say your pump dies, just go buy a new pump. Or like if you need to fill your computer back up, you can do that. It's just,
I see.
it's sort of like, but obviously the cost trade-off with that, and obviously setting it up trade-off with that is quite significant. With a sealed unit, you just screw it into wherever you've got fan slots, and
Right.
and it's like it's easy. But you have to plan the tubing, you have to plan the water flow type situation. Is a lot more work to a lot of people, and that's why you don't see it as often.
Oh, okay. Never thought of that. Okay.
And obviously the cost is exponentially higher than running just a sealed unit, because you can buy an NZXT cooler for, I don't know, a couple of $100 New Zealand dollars, but if you want to buy an open loop, my first one cost me $1,000. You know, like it's just such a, but the benefit was I could call my GPUs with it, I could call my CPU, and you had the flexibility of being able to set it up the way that you wanted, and I appreciated that more than just, you know, plugging in something and just expecting it to work. So that's sort of a little bit of a spiel there. We'll cover the last thing, and then if we want to open the floor up, or if we want to open chat up a little bit, I don't know if there's anybody watching, but I don't mind. We can talk a little bit about what you want to talk about, and then we'll close it off probably if you need to go.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's in your balls in your court, essentially.
Yeah, my main thing, I really am interested in overclocking and where the bottleneck lies.
Okay.
Especially at 1080p, because I feel like not a lot of people are using above 1080p unless it's 1440. But if you're a streamer and you're only really streaming 60 frames per second, what is your priority here? Is it, I mean, obviously priority seems to be GPU, basically, because CPU, if you have an 8th gen i5 or better, you're probably good on CPU. It just seems to be the GPU and the RAM where it's like there's like a trade-off.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm wondering about too. I don't know if you have any knowledge in either of those.
Yeah. Well, give me 2 minutes to discuss this very last topic, and then we can
sure.
We can go ham.
Sounds good.
We can go ham. All right. So this is a weird thing that I thought would be interesting to talk about. I don't know if you have many thoughts about this, but so Seagate, very big hard drive manufacturer. I don't like them, but that's just me. Is they've demonstrated that you can use hard drives using the same protocol that your SSD uses, like your M.2 SSD uses.
Fine, but there's no physical way an HDD can move at the speed. Like there's no physical way.
Well, that's
possible. Fine.
You're on the same bandwagon. I don't think that there's a way for
it can take the computing. Like fine, you can take the computing and the commands as fast as the fastest drive you want. An HDD can be as fast as the fastest drive you want computing wise.
Yes.
But physically writing the data, you can't.
No.
Like there's just physically impossible. It's like taking a high school runner and putting them in the Olympics. It's like you can make it to the Olympics, but you can't actually win.
Not easily.
That's my best analogy.
No.
Yeah, not easily. Yeah.
No. And it's like exactly like the fastest hard drives I've seen, like physically, is about 300 or 400 megabytes a second. Is the fastest
for HDD.
Yeah, for an HDD. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Which is actually like it says most hard drives can barely saturate a single PCIe 2.0 link, which is 5 gigabits a second, which is about 500 megabytes a second. You can't have a hard drive faster than that. But I think what they're saying here is, I just read this. Here we go, talking about my lack of organization. And they're looking at running them on a switch, a PCIe switch. So basically it's like, if you want to run 10 hard drives over a PCIe Gen 3x4 link to run it, like it's almost like a new way of running a SATA controller on your motherboard, rather than running them through SATA. You can run.
Well, I can see if you have multiple hard drives at once, I can see the benefit.
That's what they're
but it
trying
won't be.
Yeah.
It still won't be like if you're playing a game and you're only concerned about one of those hard drives, or you're downloading something from Steam You're only concerned about one of those hard drives. It's not gonna. There's no way it
Well,
could make a physical
well, then
difference.
the thing that's called RAID. Have you heard of RAID before?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
RAID.
yep.
Yeah. I guess that's sort of like if you want to do a RAID 0 array across about 10 hard drives, and you want to, that will saturate, an NVMe link.
So are people doing that? Like, are humans doing that?
Servers.
Like, are real humans doing that?
Enterprise, I guess. But,
Enterprise, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I get it. Enterprise
yeah.
is a big thing, but yeah, are humans actually doing that?
I RAID my 2 hard drives in the Wreckfest server, that system behind me.
Interesting.
There,
okay.
Because they're only 160 gig, so they're quite small, but their read and write speeds are actually quite quick. And I thought, why don't I just, because they're a server-based hard drive. I got them out of a workstation, and I thought, to make it better and to make the game loading smoother and the server side of it running a bit better, why don't I just put them together and say they're one disk? So they're, despite the hard drive being actually 20 years old, I believe they're about 20 years old.
Wow.
They're running at about 160 megabytes a second, which is.
But for a server, I feel like you don't need that, like that kind of kind of crazy speed. Wait a minute.
Yeah, you do.
Server, so they're running like Xeon processor.
Yeah.
Like they really need that kind of speed.
Because, again, bottlenecks. You don't want.
Oh, where's the bottleneck? The bottleneck's at the user's GPU, not at the network. Unless you have a terrible server. Like, there's no way the bottleneck is at the network, right? Like, unless you have a terrible server, like you're just running like 1 gigabyte of RAM on like a Windows 95. The bottleneck's got to be at the user's GPU, right? Like encoding what the server's sending it, or no? Maybe I'm wrong.
It's about how quickly the server updates its information, because it's obviously it's not sending the packets live, right? It can't process the data. It can't predict what is going to be happening next. So it's
not 100%.
Sending them at the time, and it's like, if you want, and that comes down to, how quickly your CPU can encode it, how quickly it can access the storage and the RAM.
But whose CPU can encode it? Whose CPU can encode it? The server. So the server sending instructions to the user's
over the network
computer.
Yes.
Over the network. Yeah. So instructions are like text files. You're sending text files.
If it's to do with the game, it's essentially sending a copy of the game over the network.
But even if the user has the game installed on their computer, it's sending a copy of the game. Okay, interesting. Okay, this is news to me.
Because it's sending, not the whole game, obviously. It's sending
of course not. Yeah,
parts of the game that's updating.
Yeah, it's sending code. It's sending very basic information, so the end user's computer can encode it and run it.
Yeah.
No, am I wrong here? Am I off?
No. I think you're right.
Okay.
But but also, like, if you can't send those packets quick enough.
Oh, of course, yeah. If you have a Windows 90, if you have Windows NT, Windows 98, you have a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So it actually does matter. Like, I know that when I have bots loaded up on that server, it's running a 6-core system it's quite an old 6-core system, so it's not really designed. I can see 20-30% CPU usage quite happily. If there is bots loaded up and there's a few people on it. So it can take a fair chunk out of it. And the hard drives do crank up because obviously it's running the game as well as sending it over the network. So it is actually running the game.
Right. It's not, but and again, I'm not 100% on the network, but it's not running the graphics of the game. You're just running the code of the game to send to the end user if it's a dedicated server.
Yeah,
I'm not sure though.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure. It's not because you don't need like a 3090 to run Wreckfest server. Like, you just need a very basic CPU, RAM, and your hard disk speed matters because you're sending tons of information to multiple users.
But no,
I feel like
if you're running it on like a single core or a dual core CPU, I don't think you're gonna have a good time. No.
Okay.
Like maybe like an older i7, maybe from like the second gen, 2600K or 2700K, or or maybe like a Xeon.
I'm ready to turn my old computer into a server, so I just need to know how to do it. I feel like it could run it, not a problem, but I just need to know how to do it.
I would say it's more, the biggest thing that I've run into problems with is actually the software is easy. It's very easy, because they've actually got user interfaces for most of the things now that you can actually click and set up, rather than running the command prompt or whatever to actually manually set it all up. Which, I'm not keen on that sort of thing. But but in terms of actually the network, is that setting up the network, like the static IP, the port forwarding, you know, making sure you've got enough bandwidth to run all your devices plus the server on top of that. And you know, that seems to be the most, that's where I've had the most trouble, is actually having that set up rather than worrying about the software, because I can just turn the server on and say, I want to add this track, or I want to add this particular race. It's a couple of clicks of the button, but having the back end sorted, like your network, is actually more important and more where I've had the most issues.
I'll take your word for it. You got more experience than I do networking.
I've had a few months, really. You know, I haven't, and I basically were having so bad network problems for a number of months that I just had to take everything offline, because we just keep getting such an intermittent connection that we're like, right, we're going to change providers. We didn't. We re-signed up with them, and we haven't had trouble since. And that server's been running. Good news then. We've been running the server 24/7 for about.
I'm gonna have to join your server then. I joined it like once. I got to join it again.
Yeah,
I gotta
it hasn't been online,
again.
You see.
That's probably why.
I had to take it offline because I was troubleshooting a friend's computer, and I because I've only got 2 network.
I gotta get on to Wreckfest again and join your server
again. Well, they've got new tournament modes. They've actually done some new DLC, which has been good.
Nice. Can't wait.
I thought that game was dead, honestly.
No, it's not dead. That's an underrated game. Wreckfest is very highly underrated, and it should be.
Than it used to be. It used to be very popular.
There's no fault. You look on Twitch, how many people are streaming? It's like 23. There's 23 viewers on Wreck. Like, come on, that game is highly underrated. And for multiplayer, when you just wreck each other, like you can do a demolition derby. What more do you want? Why are you watching Fortnite and not Wreckfest?
Exactly.
No, I'm just joking. I know you're impartial to Wreckfest over Fortnite, so that's why I use that example.
Well, you can time yourself out in the chat if you like.
Yeah, that's right. I said Fortnite. You're right. I said Fortnite.
But no, I won't do that to you.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, no, it's absolutely. It's I don't know. The funny thing is, I watch a lot of people play Fortnite. There's actually a lot of people, but I don't come.
There's some talented humans like that can really process hand-eye coordination very quickly. So there's some talented humans. It's not like Fortnite's not like it's like a joke. It's not a joke. Like it's pretty serious. When you can build, aim, shoot, and cognitively realize where you need to be for the next move pretty rapidly. That's not a joke. That's pretty serious. So yeah, I'm not dissing it at all.
I come for the person in that instance rather than the game. I don't like the game. It's not my cup of tea. I'm
there
sure
you go.
Everybody's
So
aware of that who's been in my community a while. I know. Whenever I turn the game on or whenever I watch the game, I know I have to go and have a shower afterwards because I feel like I've ruined my soul. I've ruined.
Epic Games don't watch this though. Epic Games, I hope, is not watching this. No. Oh my goodness.
No, I'll get a DMCA notice from them after this stream, I'm sure. And they wanted me to take it down. That's okay.
This is Epic Games. Warning. Diss us anymore?
So yeah, Epic Games just warned you, dude.
Oh.
You just got a warning.
Oh. I'm innocent. I put my hands up. I'm guilty. Take me to court. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's. I guess we're sort of in sort of question time now, aren't we? Really? How long do you have? You need to go right now. Yeah,
just a few more minutes there. Then I gotta take J Dog for his
hit me
for his nightly nightly bedtime. You got to get a snack, got to go to bed. So yeah, if there's any questions, absolutely. Otherwise,
hit me with
this was awesome.
You want to ask me now? Yeah, if you want to talk to me about
Very
anything
cool.
other than what we've discussed today, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's question time for people out there.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to ask hardware a question here.
Yeah, feel free.
This might be, I don't know. This might be personal.
Oh.
This might hit home for hardware.
All right. Oh.
So you have the choice between the 12th gen Intel processor, like a serious new gaming computer.
Yeah.
Or you have the top of the line Ryzen.
Oh.
Like, what do you honestly choose? Not and put your personal feelings, marketing and money aside, no money involved. This is just hardware talking hardware, not hardware talking money. What is the honest decision between Intel versus AMD is what I'm getting at.
I've always come across as I don't need to have the best. I'm not one to say I need 100% the top of the line system. But Intel seems to have infected every step of the market being faster than its competitors. And the funny thing is, they actually seem to be a tiny smidgen cheaper as well, which is actually remarkable for Intel because
interesting.
They are not ones to mess around with price because they know that they're going to win consumers anyway. But I honestly feel that...
Okay, hold on. We're talking CPU.
Yep.
CPU first, and then GPU second.
Oh, yeah.
Give me your opinion.
I would probably still take 16 cores over 24 cores. So I would because my video work, my streaming, I encode my streams on the CPU. I don't do any stuff on the GPU. So like,
oh really?
So I know that
interesting. I did not know that.
It produces a slightly better quality image, I feel, and obviously takes load off my GPU, which can be dedicated to running the games more smoothly that I play.
Because you're single PC setup.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different story. Okay, got it.
So in that instance, yes, even though the Intel is faster, I think the fact that you have to run E-cores to make up for the fact that your architecture isn't as nice, as streamlined as AMD's, I feel that's and AMD will do it. They have to do it now because obviously Intel's taken that lead, so they have to do something to compete in that realm. And they've talked about it a lot longer than Intel has, so I'm surprised they haven't done it by now. If you look at the history, there's actually some talk of them talking about these multi-core design systems way back in the early APU days, which is about 10 years ago plus. And it's like, I don't know why they hadn't done it. Maybe obviously change of leadership means that they had to, change ideas, but it just seems that they're going to have to do it now. And it's only a matter of time, I think, before they have to. But yeah, I know they're faster, and I know it would be a benefit. But the whole, I think you have to use Windows 11 as well. I think the Windows 10 scheduler doesn't allow for the E-core and the P-core programming to work properly. So
advice on that: always wait for the point 0.1
the
update.
Service pack. Yep.
Never download like 11.0. Always wait for 11.1 before you make the switch.
I waited years for Windows 10. Because
I have Windows 11 just like tapping at the door, like, hey, it's ready.
Come here.
Like, no,
no.
Let me know when the Windows 11.1 is out, and then I'll download it. Basically,
Yeah, because I was on 8.1 for years. People thought I was odd.
It makes sense.
People don't like Windows 8. It was
interesting.
I'll use one expletive here. I apologize. It was crap.
It was crap.
It was. It was designed for laptops and tablets and touchscreens and all that sort of thing, with no indication of any support for desktops whatsoever compared to Windows 7. I love Windows 7. It always will have a place in my heart. But Windows 10 seems to be okay. It was okay enough years later that I actually didn't have any major problems with it compared to 8. But I'm not going to do Windows 11 for at least probably until they lose support.
Yeah, I'll wait until OBS releases their next update. Like, they haven't released an update since like October. So once they release their next update, so I know it like fixes all the issues you've been seeing online where like the audio lags and there's video encoding problems when you use a video capture card. So when they release their next update, that's when I'll download it. And I'll keep my like 30 days of going back. I'll hold it real
very
close.
Tightly. Yeah.
Very close, bro. Because I want to go back if there's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you wish you don't have to, but...
That's right, dude.
Yeah. No, it's Windows. And I guess that sort of makes a bit of a case for Linux now, doesn't it? Because...
Linux.
Have you heard of the Steam Deck?
Yeah. So I thought about getting that for J-Dog for Christmas. I'm just not... I don't know. I got to see more like reviews on it first because I want to see how does it actually handle like GTA 5? How would it actually handle something that intense? You know, at ultra graphics ratings.
Oh, you won't be able to run it at ultra graphics. Hello. Hello.
There he is. There's J-Dog.
The man
what is
himself.
that? No, don't show that. Hardware doesn't allow that on his stream, dude. He doesn't allow that on his stream. We're gonna get banned. He doesn't allow Fortnite on the stream, dude.
It's all good. I'll make an exception. It's all right.
I'll make an exception. It's okay. We're not banned, dude.
Edit it out. It's all right.
I won't edit it out. Awesome, dude.
No. Well, is that us then? Are we rounding out?
Yep. Yeah, I appreciate the time, dude. It was very fun. Very fun. Anytime. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think next year I'll be expanding this as far as wide as I can, and I'm sure you'll be seeing something in your inbox during my break.
Absolutely. Yeah, let me know anytime, dude. Anytime.
Yeah, no worries. No, thank you very much. It's been if you want to share your Twitch link, your YouTube, or anything in the chat right now, please.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, please feel free. I want to know everything that's been going on for you, and when can we see you next?
Just look up KinTheKnow. Just type in KinTheKnow in Google. You'll be good to go. You'll get the Twitch link. You'll get the YouTube link. Just type in KinTheKnow.
Awesome stuff, man.
Anytime. Family friendly though.
Yes.
Family friendly.
Yes. Yeah,
because of this guy.
Don't come
here.
and swearing in chat.
Yeah, if you want to like roast each other and stuff, that's like 99% of Twitch. You can go on Twitch and do that. If you want to just chill and have fun, that's us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I give takes all types, as I said. Got to give credit where credit's due. And
right, that's right. All types. Yeah, there's little family friendly. A lot on YouTube, not really a lot on Twitch. So Twitch has got to do better with family friendly. That's what we're here for, bro. That's what we're here for, family friendly.
Yep. Got to advocate for that 100%.
Appreciate it, Hardware. Appreciate it.
No worries. No, thank you very much for your time and your energy, your company, your wildness.
Anytime, dude. Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. Right. Sorry for outbursts, dude. I'm known for outbursts,
look,
so sorry for that.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious, honestly.
Okay, good.
Made this conversation a hell of a lot more interesting. Absolutely.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you very much. I'll catch you all in a couple of days, is it? You on in a couple of days?
Yeah, I'm on Friday next, and then after December 17th, when I finally finish my work schedule, bro, we're on holiday, so we'll post an update in the Discord. Join the Discord. Look at KinTheKnow if you wanna enjoy some family friendly, no roasting gaming, just good old fun, bro. Just good old fun.
Good old fun. Awesome, man. I'll let you go. If you need to go, I'll let you go.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
very
Hardware.
much.
Appreciate it.
No
Good
worries.
to see you, dude.
Good to see you too. Pleasure chatting. Awesome. No. Oh, he's still here. Oh, disconnect the video. Oh, no, he's disconnected. Okay. I'll hang up. Awesome. No, that's really, really good chat. Thank you very much. As I've said before, if you are at all interested for anybody to come on with the podcast next year, happy to hear from you. What is everything with going like full screen? What's going on? Something's up with my... Oh, with my computer, and yeah, that's weird. Anyway, obviously window capture is not happy. Go follow this madman. He's an awesome guy, and I wouldn't have, I dedicate a lot of my time to him and to, supporting his community, and I'm very, very happy for him to support mine. Absolutely, it's been great. That's it. Yep, you'll see me again on Friday for the last Let's Play of the year for 2021, which is going to be the Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Then Saturday for Forza Fridays, bring your festive spirit, and also Sunday Wreckfest with VMNZ, and then the moderator podcast in the afternoon. Really, really keen to see you there for that. And then next week, if you want to join the Discord, please do. We'll be having a community games night with Among Us, Cards Against Humanity, Jackbox, all that good stuff, for one last stream, last hurrah next week. So please be here for that. Thank you all for 2021. If I do not see you before then, it's been great to have this podcast, and I'm really, really keen for 2022 and what that's going to bring for us. It will be my year anniversary in April, so not long left before that. It's been 8 months already. It's been 9 months already almost, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, thank you very much. It's been great. Catch you all in the next episode and next stream if I'm not there. You may look at my follow account. I have trimmed that back a little bit because I did some trimming. I did actually do some trimming, so I sort of want to sort out this giveaway. I should have talked about it on stream, didn't do that, but you'll hear more about it if you come back another time, or if you see other episodes as well. Awesome stuff. Thank you for watching. Peace out for now. Bye bye.